The night had fallen softly over the countryside, wrapping the golden fields in a warm, dusky glow. The air smelled of earth, rain, and something pure, something city people often forgot existed. On that lonely road, headlights cut through the mist as a sleek black car wound along, its tires kicking up gravel. Inside sat Isabella Grant, a millionaire businesswoman whose world revolved around deadlines, boardrooms, and luxury. Her life had been built on control and nothing ever slipped through her hands. Until that night, a sudden sputter, then silence. The car jerked and rolled to a stop in the middle of nowhere. "You've got to be kidding me," she muttered, slamming the steering wheel. Her phone flickered and no signal, not a single bar. She looked around the fields stretching endlessly, a lone tree, and the sound of crickets echoing in the distance. Panic mixed with frustration. For someone used to solving million-dollar problems, being stranded on a dirt road was a new kind of helplessness. She got out, shivering slightly as the cool breeze brushed her hair. Somewhere in the distance, a faint light flickered at a lantern, swinging gently. With no other choice, she started walking toward it, her high heels sinking into the muddy ground. As she neared, she saw a small wooden house, barely holding together, surrounded by fields ready for harvest. The faint hum of a man singing to himself drifted through the air. That's when she saw Jacob, a humble farmer in worn clothes, tending to a tractor that looked older than both of them combined. He looked up, surprised, when he saw Hera, this elegant woman in heels and a silk coat standing under his old lamp. "Even in, ma'am," he said with a nod. "You look a bit lost." "My car broke down," Isabella replied, brushing her hair back impatiently. "I need a mechanic or a phone." Jacob smiled gently. "You won't find either around here this late, but you can sit for a bit, have some tea while I take a look." Before she could protest, he'd already grabbed the lantern and started walking toward her car. She followed reluctantly, confused at his calmness. Within minutes, he had the hood open, hands blackened with grease, humming as he worked. "Looks like your alternator's given up," he said. "I can fix it enough to get you to town tomorrow." "Tomorrow?" The word felt heavy. "I can't stay here all night," she snapped. "I have a meeting in the morning." Jacob just shrugged with a calm smile. "Ma'am, sometimes the world makes you stop so you can see what you've been driving past." Something in his tone silenced her. He offered her his small wooden chair by the porch. Moments later, he handed her a chipped cup of tea. It wasn't fancy, but it was warm and somehow comforting. As the night deepened, they talked, or rather, she listened about his late wife, his little daughter asleep inside, and the drought that had nearly ruined him last year. Yet despite it all, he spoke with gratitude, not bitterness. "The earth takes and gives," he said softly. "You just have to keep faith in the giving part." Isabella stared at him, realizing how long it had been since she'd felt that kind of peace. Her world was full of noise. This man lived in silence yet carried more calm than she'd ever known. The next morning, sunlight spilled over the fields, and the sound of a rooster filled the air. Jacob had been up since dawn, repairing her car. When she stepped outside, she found a small breakfast waiting on the porch of fresh eggs, bread, and milk. "Didn't have much to offer," he said shyly, "but figured you might be hungry." For the first time in years, she smiled genuinely. "Thank you, Jacob. You've done more than anyone ever has for me." He just nodded, wiping his hands on his old cloth. "Kindness don't cost nothing, ma'am." Before she left, she slipped an envelope into his tool bag of $10,000 in cash. But when she reached the city, something tugged at her heart. She turned the car around and drove straight back. She found Jacob still in the field, planting seeds with his daughter. "I came back," she said simply. "I want to help you, really help you." At first, he refused, saying he didn't take charity, but she smiled. "Then call it a partnership. You give me the wisdom of the soil, and I'll give you the business to make it grow." Months later, they launched Harvest Hearts, an organic farm-to-market company that gave jobs to struggling farmers across the region. Isabella poured her wealth and strategy into it. Jacob poured his soul. Together, they changed hundreds of lives. And every time reporters asked Isabella how it all began, she smiled softly and said, "It started when my car broke down and life finally started running." In the end, she realized that sometimes the universe stops your engine not to punish you, but to redirect you to people, places, and moments that remind you what wealth truly means. Moral: you don't need money to be rich. Sometimes, a heart full of kindness can fix more than a broken carrot. It can repair a broken soul. Would you like me to break this long story into 10 separate scene prompts for video creation or image generation next? For a cinematic YouTube storytelling format,